It's funny how some people show their true colors at funerals. Maybe it's the grief, or maybe it's just greed finally breaking through the surface. For my sister Amanda, it was definitely the latter, standing there at our father's funeral, waving around a piece of paper she claimed was his will. She had no idea what was about to hit her. I'm Sarah Mitchell, 35 years old, and this is the story of how my sister's attempt to steal our father's legacy blew up in her face in the most spectacular way possible. Our family story starts like many others, with a small business. Our father, David Mitchell, built Mitchell Technologies from the ground up 30 years ago. What began as a small computer repair shop eventually grew into one of the largest tech consulting firms in the state. Dad poured his heart and soul into that company, working countless late nights and weekends to make it successful. Growing up, Amanda and I had very different relationships with our father and his business. She was the older one, always demanding attention and expecting things to be handed to her. I was quieter, spending my afternoons after school at the office, fascinated by how everything worked. While Amanda was out shopping with friends or attending parties, I was learning the ins and outs of the business from the ground up. Sarah, honey, Dad would say, understanding how every part of the business works is crucial. You never know when that knowledge might come in handy. He was right, of course, but we'll get to that later. Amanda went to college and majored in fashion design, barely passing her classes and spending most of her time partying. Meanwhile, I earned my MBA and started working at Mitchell Technologies in an entry-level position. I wanted to learn everything from the bottom up, just like Dad had. Why are you wasting your time? Amanda would scoff during family dinners. Just ask Dad for a management position. You have an MBA, for God's sake. But that wasn't my style. I worked my way up, learning every aspect of the business. The employees knew me as just another worker, not as the boss's daughter. I wanted to earn their respect, not demand it. 5 years ago, Dad called me into his office late one evening. The sunset was casting long shadows across his desk, and he looked more serious than usual. Sarah, I need to tell you something important, he said, closing the door behind me. I've been diagnosed with a progressive illness. The doctors say I have maybe 5 to 7 years left. My world stopped spinning for a moment. Dad, no. He held up his hand. I've made my peace with it, but we need to plan for the future, the company's future. That night, we made a plan. Dad would gradually step back from day-to-day operations while I took over more responsibilities. But here's the crucial part, we would keep it quiet. No announcements, no formal changes in leadership. I would continue working as I had been, but with Dad's guidance, I would actually be running the company. But why keep it quiet? I asked. Dad sighed, because I know your sister. If she finds out I'm sick, if she realizes the company will need new leadership, well, you know how she can be. I want you to have time to fully take the reins without any interference. He was right. As usual, over the next 5 years, I quietly transformed Mitchell Technologies. We expanded into new markets, developed cutting-edge software solutions, and tripled our revenue, all while maintaining our reputation for excellent customer service and employee satisfaction. To the outside world, Dad was still running everything, but inside the company, people knew who was really in charge. Amanda remained oblivious. She'd stop by the office occasionally, treating the employees like servants and bragging about her latest shopping sprees. She had no idea that the quiet sister she looked down on was actually signing her paychecks. Yes, Dad had insisted on keeping her on the payroll, though she never actually did any work. Then came the day we'd been dreading. Dad's health took a sudden turn for the worse, and within a week, he was gone. The funeral was set for a Saturday, and that's when Amanda decided to make her move. I arrived early at the funeral home, making sure everything was arranged perfectly. Dad would have wanted it elegant but not ostentatious. Amanda showed up late, of course, carrying a designer handbag that probably cost more than most people's monthly salary. The service was beautiful. Friends, employees, and business associates shared memories of Dad, highlighting his integrity, his vision, and his kindness. Amanda spent most of it checking her phone. Then came the moment that would change everything. As people were gathering for the reception, Amanda suddenly cleared her throat loudly. Everyone, I have an announcement to make. She pulled out a document with a flourish. As Daddy's eldest daughter, I want to let you all know that he left me everything, the company, the house, all of it. I have his will right here. The room went silent. I noticed Mr. Peterson, Dad's longtime lawyer, raise an eyebrow as he reached for his briefcase. I know this is a bit sudden, Amanda continued, her voice sickly sweet, But I want to assure all of you that Mitchell Technologies will be in good hands. My hands. I have lots of exciting changes planned. Some of the employees exchanged worried glances. They knew exactly who had been running the company for the past 5 years, and it certainly wasn't Amanda. Of course, she added, shooting me a smug look, some people will need to find new positions, or new jobs entirely. That's when Mr. Peterson stepped forward, adjusting his glasses. Miss Mitchell, he said calmly, perhaps this isn't the best time. No, this is the perfect time, Amanda insisted. Everyone needs to know that I'm in charge now. Sarah, she turned to me with fake sympathy, I'll give you a few weeks to clear out your desk. I'm sure you can find another entry-level position somewhere else. Mr. Peterson cleared his throat. Actually, Miss Mitchell, I have some documents here that you might find interesting. He opened his briefcase and pulled out a thick folder. What are those? Amanda demanded, her voice losing some of its confidence. These, Mr. Peterson said, are the company records for the past 5 years, including all major decisions, contracts, and changes in management structure. He paused, looking directly at Amanda. Your sister has been the CEO of Mitchell Technologies for the past 5 years. The coffee cup Amanda was holding slipped from her fingers, shattering on the floor. What? She whispered. Furthermore, Mr. Peterson continued, I have here your father's actual will, properly notarized and filed with the court 3 years ago. He held up another document. I'm curious where you got that paper you're holding, Miss Mitchell, because it certainly isn't the legal will. Amanda's face had gone from smug to pale in record time. But, I'm the oldest. The company should be mine. Age has nothing to do with it, Mr. Peterson said firmly. Your father made his decisions based on capability, responsibility, and proven leadership. Sarah has been successfully running the company for years, growing it beyond even your father's expectations. One of the senior employees stepped forward. We've all known Ms. Sarah was in charge. She's been an amazing leader, just like her father. Amanda looked around the room wildly, finally realizing that everyone knew except her. This is impossible. I demand to see proof. Proof? I finally spoke up. How about the merger with West Coast Tech last year? The one that increased our market share by 40%? I negotiated that deal. Or the new software division that's brought in millions in revenue? My project. While you were buying designer handbags with the allowance Dad gave you, I was building on his legacy. But, Amanda sputtered, looking at the paper in her hand. Where did you get that fake will, Amanda? I asked quietly. Did you forge it yourself, or did you have help? She crumpled the paper in her fist. This isn't fair. I'm the eldest. You deserve what you've earned. I interrupted. And what have you earned, exactly? In the past 5 years, what have you contributed to Mitchell Technologies? The room was silent. Everyone knew the answer was nothing. Ms. Mitchell, Mr. Peterson said, I should inform you that attempting to present a forged will is a serious legal matter. Your father specifically instructed me to pursue any such attempts to the fullest extent of the law. Amanda's face went from pale to green. You wouldn't. That depends entirely on you, I said. If you're willing to accept Dad's actual will and stop causing problems, we can forget about the forged document. But if you try to challenge anything, I let the threat hang in the air. She looked around the room, finally realizing she had no allies here. Everyone present had watched me work my way up, earn my position, and successfully lead the company. They'd also watched her treat them like servants and contribute nothing. Fine, she spat. Keep the stupid company. I never wanted it anyway. Good, I said calmly. Oh, and Amanda? The monthly allowance Dad was giving you? That's been discontinued. Effective immediately. You might want to start looking for an actual job. She stormed out of the funeral home, leaving her broken coffee cup and crumpled fake will behind. The room was quiet for a moment before people began approaching me with condolences and congratulations. Later that evening, as I sat in my office, I found a letter he'd left for me in his desk. Dear Sarah, if you're reading this, then everything has happened as we planned. I'm sorry I won't be there to see Amanda's face when she realizes the truth, but I'm sure it was quite a show. I want you to know how proud I am of you, not just for running the company successfully, but for how you did it. You worked hard, earned respect, and led with integrity. Those are the values I built this company on, and you've honored them perfectly. Take care of our people, continue to innovate, and never forget where we started. And maybe keep an eye on your sister, she might surprise us all and grow up eventually. Love. Dad. I wiped away tears as I finished reading. The office felt different now, heavier with responsibility, but also filled with possibility. The next few weeks were interesting. Amanda tried everything she could think of to challenge the will, but Mr. Peterson had ensured everything was airtight. She hired a lawyer, but after reviewing the documentation of my 5 years as CEO, even he advised her to drop it. The company continued to thrive. Without having to maintain the pretense of Dad being in charge, I was able to implement some changes I'd been planning for months. We launched a new division focused on artificial intelligence, acquired 2 promising startups, and expanded our international presence. Employees who had known me as just Sarah 4 years finally felt comfortable calling me MS Mitchell or CEO, though I insisted they could still call me Sarah. Titles didn't matter as much as results. Amanda? She had to downsize considerably when her allowance stopped, the designer handbags went up for sale, and she had to move out of her luxury apartment. Last I heard, she was working as a sales associate at a boutique, her first real job at age 40. But here's the thing about family, sometimes they can surprise you. 6 months after the funeral, Amanda came to my office, no appointment, but I decided to see her anyway. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," she said, looking uncomfortable in her off-the-rack business suit, "and I owe you an apology, several apologies, actually." I waited, saying nothing. "I was horrible to you growing up. I was horrible to you at Dad's funeral. I was just horrible in general." She took a deep breath. "I was jealous. You always had Dad's respect, and I never understood why. Now I do." "Better late than never," I said quietly. "I know I have no right to ask for anything," she continued, "but I want to learn, really learn, from the ground up, like you did. Would you consider giving me an entry-level position? I'll work hard, I promise." I studied her face, looking for any sign of manipulation. All I saw was sincerity and a hint of desperation. "You'll start in customer service," I said finally, "minimum wage, no special treatment. You'll have to earn every promotion, just like everyone else." The smile that broke across her face was genuine, maybe the first genuine expression I'd seen from her in years. "Thank you, Sarah, I won't let you down." And surprisingly, she hasn't. It's been 2 years since that day. Amanda has worked her way up to team leader in customer service. She's not anywhere near management level yet, but she's learning, growing, and most importantly, she's earned everything she's achieved. Dad's letter was right, she did surprise us all by growing up eventually. As for me, I keep his picture on my desk, next to the awards Mitchell Technologies has won under my leadership. Sometimes, when I have to make a particularly tough decision, I look at that picture and ask myself what Dad would do. But more and more often these days, I find myself knowing exactly what to do on my own, because while I'll always honor his legacy, I'm creating my own now, and I think that would make him proudest of all. The company continues to grow and evolve. We've expanded into new technologies, opened offices in 3 more countries, and our employee satisfaction ratings are at an all-time high. Dad's dream of building something that would last beyond him has been realized, just not in the way anyone except him expected. Sometimes I think about that day at the funeral, watching Amanda wave around her fake will, so certain she'd won. I think about the look on her face when she realized that while she'd been focused on what she thought she deserved, I'd been quietly earning everything I achieved. But mostly, I think about Dad's wisdom in knowing exactly how things would play out. He knew Amanda would try something like that. He knew I would handle it with grace. And he knew that sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all, it's simply letting people face the consequences of their own actions. Last week, I found Amanda staying late at the office, studying our company's history and business model. When I asked her why, she said something that made me smile. "I finally understand what Dad always said about knowing every part of the business. You never know when that knowledge might come in handy." Maybe she was finally learning the right lessons. Better late than never, indeed. The view from the CEO's office is different now than it was 5 years ago when I secretly took over. The city has grown, new buildings have gone up, but Mitchell Technologies still stands as a testament to hard work, integrity, and the power of quiet competence over loud entitlement. And every morning, when I walk into this office, I'm grateful for a father who taught me that the best way to succeed isn't to demand what you think you deserve, but to work quietly and diligently until you've earned something even better. Amanda's fake will is framed in my office now, a reminder that sometimes the sweetest victories are the ones you never have to fight for, because you've already won them through years of dedication and hard work. And that coffee stain on the funeral home floor? They never did get it completely out. Sometimes I think it's better that way, a permanent reminder that karma, like coffee, can leave lasting marks.